In Until Every Child is Home, Todd Chipman, a wise and experienced guide on such matters, offers practical direction on how local congregations can do better in our quest to care for those Jesus calls the least of these my brothers. Matthew chapter 25, verse 40. This book will help you whether you are considering adoption or foster care, are thinking about how to minister to people who are in that process, or if you're simply skeptical about whether your church could ever have what it takes to enter this risky endeavor. This book is no gauzy, sentimental selling of adoption or any other orphan ministry. Todd makes clear that this is spiritual warfare, and it brings with it a great deal of risk. But it's worth the risk. Water is risky too. An army of Egyptians drowned in it, and before that, an entire primeval population did too, and yet Jesus carries us through the water at the start of our Christian lives to show us that we have nothing left to fear, and that, as was said of him, we are beloved children in the sight of the Father. A church that is orphan-minded will be gospel-hearted too. This book will help show us how a ministry to fatherless children is about the nursery, yes, but it's even more about the baptistry. Russell Moore, President, Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention, author of Adopted for Life, The Priority of Adoption for Christian Families and Churches. Introduction. What you need to know about God's goodness. Sometimes God teaches us the goodness of His ways, even as we are in the process of obeying what He has revealed in Scripture. We are walking with Him, we know He is faithful, we do our best to trust and obey. Along the way, we discover that His ways are not only right, but good. Good for us. I wrote Until Every Child is Home because I have seen that God's instruction for His people to care for orphans is not only what we should be doing because He said to, and because we find needy kids across the globe, but also because by doing good for kids, we are doing good for ourselves. I want local churches to see that by coming together to meet the needs of vulnerable kids, we advance our church ministries. Orphan care is strategic, compelling work, a means and not just a goal. Orphan care ministries do not suck the life out of a church, as some might think they would. Rather, foster care, adoption, and support ministries enhance the general ministry of our local church. In this book, I identify 6 spheres of ministry that benefit from a church's orphan care work. Each chapter begins with the narrative of an individual or family who has expertise in helping us trace the ways that orphan care ministries benefit not only vulnerable children, but our churches as well. Then I unpack Scripture to help us better understand the focus God has for the church through orphan care. To facilitate group studies, each chapter concludes with a list of discussion and reflection questions. In Part 2, I write that by promoting foster care, adoption, and wraparound support for families taking children into their homes, local churches develop theological depth. As Christians, we learn by reading Scripture, by hearing testimonies of other believers' experiences, and by putting into practice what we have read. You'll hear about the journeys of Douglas and Virginia Webster, Russell and Maria Moore, and Tate and Abby Williams. While God has worked in different ways in their specific foster and adoption journeys, each of these couples note that orphan care has helped them and their churches learn about God in ways they never had before. Old Testament references to God's concern for the orphan came alive for these couples as they became involved in foster care and adoption. I note how orphan care ministry provides unique insight into passages from the Gospels and Paul's letters in the New Testament. Part 3 surveys ways that foster care and adoption